Hello everybody, welcome back to the stream. Long time no see, or at least it feels like that. I only missed Saturday's stream, but it feels like a lot longer than that. So, what we're going to be working on today is another map feature that I thought of over the weekend that I think is going to be pretty fun, but we're going to get into that in just a second. Before I do, I want to remind everyone that Alchemortis is available for wishlisting on Steam. It's the first line in the description below, so check that out. You can also support the game on Patreon financially. this top tier here will get you this perk where you will get an Alchemortis Steam key when the game launches. So it's like a pre-purchase. So this basically functions as a pre-purchase of the game. You will also get your name listed in the in-game Alchemortis credits as a sponsor. So if that sounds interesting to you, check it out. And I also have my Udemy courses available for sale. These will teach you how to build complete games in the Godot engine. So if you've been wanting to do that, check it out. Very much appreciate that. And the Discord is linked below as well. So yeah, check it out. Help me out. Appreciate all your support. And let's get right into it. Hello, A the Ant. Welcome back. Hi, Law. We have Not Last and Not First. Welcome back to both of you. Emerson, good morning. MKRD, hello, hello. Finished my first ever jam game. Awesome. Congratulations. How'd it go? Did you enjoy it? Did the game turn out to your satisfaction? All right. So this feature that I want to experiment with is a bless mechanic. So it's basically this mechanic that's going to work where the player will step on a node. The node will be predetermined by the map generation, and that node will serve as a trigger node. So it'll be a normal node. It could be a combat node. It could be whatever. But that trigger node will modify all of the immediately connected nodes to the player in some way that is both detrimental and beneficial. So the idea behind this is to surprise the player with new choices that come up and kind of cause the player to rethink how they're moving through the map. So when this trigger node ends up changing the nodes around it in some way, the player may change which node they were going to go to next based on the conditions, or they may backtrack and avoid that section of the map if they don't want to deal with it. Something like that. So we're gonna see how that looks. We're gonna figure that out, and we'll just go from there. You could judge the game for yourself, but for me, I feel like it did pretty good. That's great. Awesome. Congratulations. It does feel great, yes. All right, so how are we going to start this here? How are we going to start this? So we're going to need to modify the seeded run, of course. We're going to need to set up the trigger nodes in here. But then we're also going to need to go into the run manager, and we're probably going to need to animate this in the same way that we're animating map node changes here. So maybe we'll just build into this system that I've already got going on here for showing the nodes that are being quote-unquote blessed, and then we can also just use these map node effects here. So I think that's going to work. We'll figure out how it looks, but yeah, we're going to start by starting it. That's a good words to live by. I did the jam too, but I think it will need a lot more work to make the game really fun. Which jam was it again? All right, well, we're going to start by starting. Public, oh wait, I should make this a new, get rid of this. We'll create a new branch for that, okay. All right, so then in the seeded run here, what we're gonna do is we will just go ahead and generate trigger nodes. Okay, in here, private void generate trigger nodes. Trying to think of how I want to do this. Good morning, Chris. Godot Wild Jam. Oh, gotcha. Knocked a backseat by the thing you type on your keyboard and then stuff happens. Oh, that's too much. Too much backseat game development. Why don't you take a chill pill, High Law? Some ideas are more fertile for game jams than others. Hard to know which ones are. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like you could, especially if it's a short jam, you could spend the first 12 hours prototyping and then figure out, oh, like this game is not that good, but now I only have 36 hours remaining and I don't even know if the next round of prototyping is going to produce something good. So you kind of just have to make a judgment call, like, do I just try to make this kind of mediocre idea as good as possible, or do I try to complete a completely different idea? That's why game jams are tough, but they're really good for honing that game design skill, because the more you do them, the more you can figure out earlier whether your idea is going to work or not. It just comes with experience, really. This jam lined up perfectly from to my week off, so I could spend all my time on the game. Yeah, that's nice when that happens, for sure. I used to, when I was working full-time, I used to take either Friday and Monday off for game jams that ran through the weekend. Monday was usually the recovery day, and Friday was like the day the jam would start. So I would just take the days off and do it. Hello, Sramilop. I am trying to switch permanently from Unity to Godot, but I'm getting confused in the game objects and nodes. Yeah, I think, I mean, this is a situation where I'd recommend, like, looking up more high-level tutorials, like, look up tutorials about, like, the theory of Godot, I guess, for lack of a better word, like, how Godot wants you to use the engine, what nodes are, that kind of thing. And then, hopefully that can clear things up for you. I've only done game jams that felt like sunken cost fallacy case studies, yeah. Hello, Yeet, welcome back. Send it on Discord later when I get off work if anyone wants to check it out. It's a slot machine game. Awesome. Yeah, please share it. Please share it. I think what I'll do is I'll just choose a random number of trigger nodes in each region. So for var I equals 0, I is less than notoriety regions I++. Region nodes is equal to run map nodes where x notoriety region equals I, and x.node event type is not equal to event type dot checkpoint. I guess we could put that safety check in there, that's fine. Var nodes to trigger is equal to rng.rand_i range. Let's do, I don't know, 2 to 5, I suppose. Is that gonna work? Yeah, that should work. Okay, and then we got the nodes to trigger. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna choose random nodes. So var potential nodes is equal to region nodes.to hash set. Actually, I don't think I need to do that. J equals 0, J is less than nodes to trigger. Random index RNG rand_i range potential nodes dot count -1. Trigger node equals potential nodes random index. Trigger node set trigger node. Potential nodes remove at random index. If potential nodes dot count equals 0, break. That works. Okay, so we're generating the trigger nodes now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do this. Map node tooltip is debug show map node tooltips enabled. If map node dot is trigger node. We'll just add that. All right. Let's first click around and make sure that all worked. Can also send my game in Discord. Yeah, please do. Yeah, feel free to share your games in the Discord. Absolutely, absolutely. Probably shouldn't make any trigger nodes at the start either, so maybe I'll fix that as well. Oh, I forgot to enable. Debug show debug map node tooltips. All right, let's see here. Oh, this one is a trigger node. Okay, cool. That one's also a trigger node. All right, so we'll try that out. Let me add an extra condition down here to these trigger nodes. We want to get rid of let me think. X, oh, let's just do run map dot start node. X is greater than or equal to 2. Okay, that should work. So now that's the easy part. The next part is to handle those trigger nodes. Animate map node changes. Animated map node changes. Where is this set at? Set map node changes to animate. Let's do this. Var was trigger is equal to current run map node dot is trigger node. And not current run map node is visited. Or wait. Yeah, that's right. We've got the seeded run here. Okay. So this is going to be the part that kind of is a little bit weird, but I think what I want to do is probably create a new configuration object, I think. Trigger configuration. Trigger configuration. We're going to need to set an RNG object for that. Private read-only dictionary, run map node, trigger configuration, map nodes to trigger configuration. Do I need to clear this as well? I don't think so, actually. Shiny. I don't remember what that's in reference to. Finally, 20 days into my first real project, small mobile game, just to prove to myself I could take it to the end. The next one will be a game using your multiplayer course as a base to expand on. Awesome. Well, congratulations, Derek High. Sounds great. I'm glad that the course helped you out. Thank you, Snupbill, for the IDR 10,000. Very much appreciate that. Always appreciated. And we have the message, Yummers. Welcome back, Snupbill. Always good to see you. Trigger node, map nodes to trigger configuration. Trigger node is equal to new trigger configuration with an RNG there. Okay. So, let me think. This needs to apply map node effects. What's the plan today? New nodes. The plan is, so I'm adding this new feature called trigger nodes, which is it's a sort of hidden mechanic where the player will visit a node and that node might trigger a blessing of nodes that are nearby. And a blessing in this context is a negative thing because you're playing as the evil guy, right? So it's going to bless the neighbor nodes, which is going to change them in some way. So it's going to change them in a way that makes them perhaps more difficult, but it's also going to maybe modify them in a way that's also beneficial for the player. So just trying to add more dynamism to the map. This is just something that I thought of over the weekend, and so I figured, well, might as well experiment with that and see what happens. Because I think the map is still lacking some, dynamism. So we've got the floating eyes now, we've got the obelisk, which can change the nodes, and now this is going to be like a surprise mechanic where you're not going to know which nodes are trigger nodes. It's just that when you visit a trigger node, it's going to then trigger a blessing. So it's almost going to feel like a dynamic event, but since it's determined ahead of time by the seeded run generation, it's kind of like not technically a dynamic event, but the goal is to make it feel that way to the player. And then the player is going to have to respond to that event either by choosing to engage with one of the nodes that got affected by the triggering, or by just changing their path around those things. Been a slow day, feeling okay? Well, I just woke up, and also I was a little bit sick over the weekend, so I'm still kind of recovering from that. So yeah, I would say it's a little bit of a slow day, but what are you going to do? There's still game dev to be done. Okay, so let's see. So I think in here, in the run manager, if was trigger, what I need to do is I probably need to do this. Trigger configuration is equal to seeded run get trigger configuration for node. Let's put that in there. Okay, so we've got the trigger configuration here. Var, we can actually do this. Trigger configuration, public void, apply effects to neighbors. For each var neighbor in node.connections, map node effects manager dot. Oh, I need to get the map node effects manager, I think. Apply map node effect. Map node effects manager. So we're going to do map node effects manager to apply map node effect. Neighbor, what kind of map node effects do I have? Where is that? Map node effect. So I'm going to need to come up with some new map node effects, I think, for this. But for now, let's just do new combat currency reward map node effect. So yeah, I'm going to need to come up with some more map node effects, I think, but that's all right. If neighbor.is visited, we are going to continue. Okay. This could work well in a combination with a side effect that occurs when sacrificing cards to continue playing after death. Yeah, that's a good idea, Bolter. Yeah. Hope you're doing better nonetheless. Same goes for everyone. Thank you, Snupbill. Yeah. Hello, Rin. May the force, the farce be with you. Welcome back, Rin. Always good to see you. It's time for Game Dev once again. Welcome, Jackie Daytona. Always good to see you. Hello, Meep. Welcome. So in here now, we're going to do trigger configuration dot apply effects to neighbors current run map node get map node effects manager. We're probably going to want to animate that as well, but that's all right. All right. So one way to test this is just to make every node a trigger node. Hello, MF Biggs. Welcome. So if I do this here, all right, that doesn't work. There's no trigger nodes available from the start. Okay, so now these have had that blood reward is increased by 5. Oh, uh-oh. I gotta figure out. So I gotta make this system a little bit more complex. I might have to think, but let's just think of some interesting map node effects now that can happen from the triggering. So the problem with the map node effects is that a lot of them are specific to the type of node that exists. So like this blood reward should only be reward should only be what? Should only be for combats. So it doesn't make sense for that to be on this one. So now I need to figure out what are some good map node effects to add. So what are some good ways to modify the nodes in response to this trigger node? And this can also build up the library of map node effects that I have for other reasons as well. And this is the part that I didn't think far enough along with. So we got to come up with some ways of modifying the nodes that make them either harder or more appealing or both. Yeah, this is probably going to have to be, in order to make these interesting, I'm probably going to have to put a lot of work into this. So one thing that I'm thinking of is like a combat node will reward a card after you beat it. That would be an interesting one to do. So that could be something, I got to think of stuff that, so map node effects either need to be globally applicable to all nodes, or they need to be specific to the node type. Both the player and enemy take gradually increased fire damage. See, that's an interesting one too. The thing is, that would only apply to combat though. But that is a very interesting one. So maybe we can implement something like that. We could also do something negative too, like we could do, let me just stub out some of these things. So we could do reduced max health map node effect. Something like this. So this could be a negative one. I'm gonna need to update the UI for all these map effects as well, but let's just do this one. Something like that. So I'm just stubbing these out. These are going to have to be filled out with stuff. I like the Raging Inferno idea. Let's do that one. Fire damage over time. Map node effect.cs. Let me stub this one out as well. Fire damage over time map node effect. Both player and enemy take increasing fire damage over time. This get grouped description, yeah, it should just be the same, I suppose. So we've got at least 2 new map node effects that will be in the game here. Now, of course, I have to make these functional, which is going to be a totally different thing. How about spreading very high tier nodes in lower tier areas? Yeah, that's a good idea. So I think it would be wise to, I think what I would do is I would try to, so the blessing, right? The blessing is supposed to be a negative and a positive. So I think what I should probably do is I should find a negative, like I could choose a random negative modifier and a random positive modifier and throw them both on the node. So what you could have is like, oh, well, this upgrade node here is its tier is increased by 1, but then you take 5 maximum health away, right, when you visit it. Or this combat encounter, it, you know, has fire damage applied to both player and enemy, but maybe you get a card reward out of it if you make it through, right? So something like that. Map node event, amnesia. All nodes nearby have their icon hidden until 1 node away. Oh, interesting. I kind of like the amnesia. I'm just going to stub a bunch of these out. Hide revealed node. Node effect. All revealed nodes will be hidden by fog of war. Something like that. Hello, Bubblegum Lord. Welcome, welcome. The amnesia one could also reduce notoriety for those nodes down to 1 or 0. Yeah, maybe. Another one could be ambush, a node that is actually a combat event that's disguised as another. Yeah, the thing is I still need to communicate. Excuse me, hold on a second. The thing is I still need to communicate what the map node effects are to the player. I don't want to surprise the player. Although like a mimic event would be kind of cool. So that could be something else. I don't know if that's a good idea, but it's an interesting idea. I just don't know if it's going to be good for the game. But let's do experiment with adding a mimic event that looks like a high reward node, but is actually a mini boss mimic fight. That would be an interesting one for sure. Those ideas make me think of a stake map node, like a battle but no enemies. Instead of dealing damage, the player has to survive being burned for a set amount of turns, rewarding healing over DPS. Yeah, that is an interesting idea too. Fair enough, just spitballing ideas. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, you're giving me a lot of good ideas here. Why is my name in chat different now? I swear I showed up as Ninja Link before. Yeah, YouTube changed it for some reason. But welcome back. Oh, wait. Yeah, I already said... Did I already say welcome to you? Anyway, welcome back, Ninja Link. So yeah, I think really the next part of this is just to get a number of positive and negative map node effects working here. Let me check something really quick. Map node effects manager. Okay, yeah, so this is getting cleared. All map node effects are getting cleared when the node gets visited, so that's good. So I think what I'm gonna have to do, oops, what did I just do? I think what I'm gonna have to do is extend this base map node effect here. So we can do something like public virtual event type filter. Null. Public virtual bool is negative effect. Okay. So now I can go through all of these and I can just do this. Public override event type filters equal to event type combat. Public override bool event type filter is equal to event type.com. No, event type.booster here. Is negative effect true? Event type.combat. Is negative effect true there? Is negative effect true there? Public override event type filters event type.reagent. Public override bool is negative effect true. So we got that data in here now. So that will help. Now I might have to change the obelisk here. Maybe not. I'll leave the obelisk alone for now. We'll have to think about that some more. But we've got extra data on those map node effects. Probably not going to be able to use this negative effect first, but what I can do now is in this trigger node here, this trigger configuration, what I can do is I can private weighted loot table base map node effect map node effects table is equal to new. Okay, so we're going to do map node effects table, add item, combat currency reward, map node effect, enemy card booster. We'll just add all of these. We don't want the floating eye penalty, I don't think. Fire damage over time, hide revealed nodes. So now we need to change I'm just trying to think of how to make this work with the seated nature of the map, because this is going to be, if I'm doing some conditional filtering on here based on what the node type is. So let's say that I visit a trigger node and it's got 4 unvisited neighbors, and then I just randomly apply through the weighted loot table here. I randomly apply an effect. But if I'm filtering out for visited nodes first, then if I have one visited node in a neighbor, then I'm going to get a different result than a different player, if that makes sense. So I'm wondering how consistent I want to make this. Mimic is cool if the player has a way to tell the real and fake apart, though through very subtle details of the icon, like in Dark Souls. Mimic chests, they're look almost identical to the real ones. The player has to pay attention, otherwise the mimic eats them. Right, yeah. Yeah, we'll see. We'll have to experiment with that, for sure. Map node event, you arrive long after battle, gain blood by X amount. Yeah, that would be cool. I'm just trying to think of how I want this to work with the seeded run here. Hello, Clickertail. Maybe we don't need to overthink this. Let's see. Hello, Artem. I'm trying to vibe code a feature for Godot as a prototype. Editor gets a new font settings. Code font italic, bold, bold italic. So code highlighting can use those fonts besides color. No luck yet. Oh, interesting. Yeah, that makes sense. So like you have like right here, this italic here. That would be really cool. I don't know how well vibe coding is going to work for Godot plugin development because there's not a whole lot of resources on that out there. But yeah, I don't know. Good luck to you. It sounds like a very useful feature though, for sure. Okay, well, we'll just make this simple for now. Map node effects table. Pick item. I think I can have a condition in here as well. Equals item dot event type filters equal to null, or item dot event type filters equal to neighbor node event type. Return is valid. Probably have to split this into positive and negative effects. So let's do negative map node effects table. Private read only weighted loot table. Positive map node effects table. So this is positive map node effects table, positive map node effects table, negative, negative. Okay, these are all right. Okay. Positive map node effects table set random RNG. Okay, that should work. Okay, so we want to choose positive. So positive map node effects table, pick item. Okay. We'll change this to positive map node effect. Var negative map node effect. If positive map node effect is not equal to null, if negative map node effect is not equal to null. Cool. Okay, so that should work. Let's just give that a shot and see what happens. It would have to be changes to the APIs, I understand, but it's only a prototype for demo purposes. Gotcha. Hello, Jack. Welcome back. Good to see you. Okay, let's see what happens. Okay. Hello, Neozoid. Welcome back. Always good to see you. That trigger node didn't work. Oh, I got a debugger error. Object reference not set to an instance of object. What? Hello, Michael. Welcome, welcome. Why is this not working? Does it think that RNG is not set? Is that what's happening? Is this not set? Well, I guess we only have one option here. Let's just go ahead and debug. And then we will just wait for the exceptions to roll in. Yeah, my RNG is null here. Why is my RNG null? Okay, so it's just null here. I guess I can't do that. Let's do that instead. I'm pretty sure that will work now. All right, offers one enemy faction card. All revealed nodes will be hidden by fog of war. Okay. Contains 1 guaranteed death orchid, reduces your maximum health by 5. Ooh, okay. So that seems to be working. The sounds from the playtest are juicy. Just curious why you never show any of that development on stream. I just don't think the sound effects stuff is terribly interesting because most of it is just me sitting in silence, clicking through a giant library of sound effects, trying to find one that works. And then if I need to, bringing several sound effects into Audacity to combine them and then just putting them in the game. And most of that I have to be silent because I need to listen for the, like, there can be no background music and I can't be talking because I need to be able to hear the sounds. So I just don't think it would make for a very interesting stream. But maybe I'm wrong. Okay, that's working pretty good actually. So there we go. Obviously, I do need to change, or I do need to, what do I need to do? I need to make these actually work. So I think that's probably the next step, is to make these ones work. And of course I need to update the visuals as well. Like I need to put a, need to put like an animation in place for those nodes being blessed or whatever. So let's commit what I have here. So we've got the initial setup of those trigger nodes in place. So let's focus on this fire damage over time map node effect, because this affects combat, and I'm going to need to figure out how to do that. Now, one other thing that I need to do as well inside of the map node effects manager . I actually need to listen for when a node has changed. Because the problem is an obelisk could change a node type that has an invalid map node effect as well. So let me just make a note in here. Well, maybe I won't make the note in there. Maybe I'll do it here. Update map node effects manager to clear invalid map node effect types if the node is changed via obelisk. So there's going to be a lot of pieces to this, but I think the next thing to figure out is how to actually get a map node effect like this fire damage over time map node effect to affect the combat. I think I could do something similar to like the artifact manager. So if I go to my artifact manager here, on combat started, on damage dealt, on turn tick here. So where is this at? Artifact manager on turn tick. Yeah, so I probably need to do something similar here. Yeah, probably will need to do something similar. Have you tried Audacity 4 Alpha? Love their video about designing this version. I have not, no. I haven't even seen anything about it. I don't like Audacity that much, but it's easy for just throwing sound effects together. I'll have to look at that. I'm just trying to look at like images here. Oh, they're updating the UI and everything. Very nice. Audacity is just like, I absolutely hate it. It's so unintuitive. It doesn't, yeah, it's just not fun. Compared to other like digital audio workstations, it's just like so unbelievably horrid. But it's easy to just start up and throw some sounds on the timeline and export them. Yeah. Like, it's just a common problem with open source software. Like, you have some open source software that's like amazing, like Blender and Godot, and then you've got others like GIMP and Audacity, which are just like the most unusable pile of garbage ever made, that are like leagues behind their proprietary counterparts. But I'm sure they'll catch up eventually. Anyway, I'm gonna take a quick 3-minute break, and then when I come back, we will figure out how to make this work. I think I'm just going to implement this pattern here. So we'll have a static method on turn tick for the map node effects manager that will just check. Oh, I need to know which current node is available, what the current node is as well. So that's actually going to be, there's one piece of information that I actually don't know how to get into where I need it to be. And that is in this turn executor component, I have this turn context. I don't have any information about what the current node is. Oops. Turn manager.start. On combat started, create artifact context. Yeah, I'm gonna need to get the node, the current node in here. So yeah, we're gonna have to figure that out. Ew, I don't like GIMP at all, yeah. I personally don't like GIMP, and I don't want to pay for Photoshop, so what I did is I bought a one-time license for Affinity Photo 2. And that was a nice middle ground. Anyway, give me a 3-minute break, I'll be right back, and we will continue on. All right, I'm back. Welcome back to me. Your favorite niche e-celeb is back. So yeah, I basically need to get the... 1 second here. Basically need to get the current node type into the turn manager here so that I can actually tick that map node effects manager. So let's start with that first. Let's do this. Public static int on turn tick. So we're going to need a run map node, current node, and then we're also going to need the execution context here. We'll do this typical isInstanceValid thing. This doesn't need to be an int. Return. Okay, so we're going to do for each var effect and effects on turn tick execution context. Let's go to the base map node effect, and we're going to do public virtual int on turn tick. No, not int, void. On turn tick, execution context, and then that's just going to be, yeah, empty. And then what I can do for the fire damage over time map node effect is I can do public override void on turn tick execution context. Then we're going to need to do this. If execution context dot source board is not equal to context helper dot what? Scene tree root. Get board manager dot get player board. Then we're just going to return. So we don't want to tick unless we're on the player's turn. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do var player board is equal to execution context dot source board. Var enemy board is equal to execution context dot target board. Execution context. Let's do player board dot status component dot apply status. So we're going to need to do this increasing. Do I have the turn history here? Turn context, current turn index, yeah. So what I could do in here is I could say var amount of fire to apply is equal to, let's do 1, I'm just going to do 1 times execution context dot current execution context dot turn. What the heck? Yeah, why can't I access the turn context? Turn context dot current turn index, and we're going to do mod 4. Or no, I don't want to do mod 4. I think I want to do divide it by 4. We need to pass the execution context in here as well. Is that right? Apply stat. Oh, I gotta. Apply status context. Really? Status is critical hit. Okay, so status is equal to new fire status. Amount of fire to apply. And then we're going to do what else? Is critical hit is equal to false. And we're going to do the same thing here with the enemy board. Actually, this null check should go here just in case. So every 4 turns, it's going to increase the amount of fire to apply by 1. Okay, so that's good. Now we've got this map node effects manager here. We've got this on turn tick. This should work actually. Why is this not working? Execution context. Oh, it's using the wrong execution context. Classic. Cool. All right, so that's basically in place. So now the last thing that I need to do is in my run manager here, turn manager.start. I can't pass the current run map node into here because I have no way of getting that into this process turns here. I don't really know. It needs to be set up in here. I almost wonder if I should create another like combat context object. Affinity gets a huge update too. They are all in one package and now free, actually. Yeah, I noticed that. You took my line? What did I say? I don't remember. I don't remember what I said. How am I going to do this? One option is to put the current run, like the map node in here, but then I would just be duplicating across all these because multiple turn context objects get created. Or is this ever stored? I guess this is never stored. It's the histories that are stored. So I guess what I can do I have a reference to the run manager in here? Anyone try Affinity? The marketing sounds good, but hard to tell. Yeah, I use Affinity for like editing my YouTube thumbnails and stuff. It's pretty serviceable. Oh, that line, yeah. Our favorite niche Islev is back, yeah. Just trying to figure out how I want to get the current run map node out of this. I am storing turn histories here. I guess it wouldn't be that bad to private read only. No, not read only. Private run map node. Current run map node. And then the run manager here, when I call start, I'll just pass in the current run map node here. I don't really like that much, but that's okay. And then in the turn context here, we'll do public run map node, current run map node. We'll just put that data in there. And then what I should be able to do is now let me look at my artifact manager. Map node effects manager dot on turn tick. We're going to do the execution context. Actually, I could just pass in the execution context here because that will have the run map node in it. Var current node is equal to execution context dot turn context dot current run map node. Okay, I think that will work. I don't know. Let's see what happens. I'm going to put this here just to be safe. Okay. Well, let's see if it works. Let's see if it works. There's a combat node here. I should really put the God mode thing on here. That didn't work. Both player and enemy take increasing fire damage over time. Let's see if this works. Oh, that doesn't work. Oh, I think I was right to use mod here. 1 second. Mod for is equal to 0, question mark. Execution context. Turn context dot current turn index. I don't know. See if that works. Basically, I just want it to, every 4 turns, I want it to increase the fire damage. So we'll see. Here we go. One, 3. I think that's right. So it went from 1 to 3. And then it went to 3 again, and then 7. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yes, it did. JKHE, it did. Affinity Photo became free. Yeah, I guess Canva bought them or something and just merged it all into a free app, which I don't know how they're going to monetize it, but that's what I'm kind of wary of. Yeah, the whole suite, yeah. So the problem is this is not playing the fire effect, so I'm going to need to figure that out as well. Okay, but that one works. So now we have a way of actually affecting how the combat plays out with the map node effects manager. So that's good. They're paywalling AI stuff. Oh, gotcha. Seems a bit premature to base their business entirely on AI. Yeah, maybe. Maybe, we'll see. Okay, so that's one map node effect done. I have to do this reduce max health one. I have to do hide revealed nodes map node effect. So let me think. How am I going to do that? Yeah, this is the next one to figure out. I have a Godot related question. I want to implement signal bus pattern into your survivor's course project, but I can't figure out the approach I have to follow. Does health component have to emit its own signal health changed and signal bus connected to this signal? Or health component should use signal bus health changed emit? Well, I don't know if I really... So the way that I handle like global signals is what I do is I have whatever wants to emit the signal globally. It basically calls a static function on the signal bus, and then it will pass itself as a reference, as well as any other relevant data. So the thing about like when you raise things to the global level like that, you won't necessarily know who was invoking that signal emission at the global level, which is why I think it's important to have some kind of data around which node triggered it. But yeah, I think typically the way I do it is have a static method on your signal bus or your global event thing or whatever, and then you just emit a whole bunch of data with it. And usually what can be made easier is if you just create a single context object. So I might have like a health changed context object, and then that might have several properties in it, like what was the node that originally emitted this signal, or what is the node that is causing this signal to be emitted, and then any additional data related to your health changed context. So it might be, it went from this number to that number. The current maximum health is this. The current health is this. You might even include extra data about like what changed the health, you know, stuff like that. I did that a lot in Gunforged because Gunforged had a lot of like things that needed to respond to like if you did fire damage or whatever. And so having that context like, oh, fire damage was dealt to this enemy, and if this enemy is now dead, then create an explosion at that location, right? All that was done with global signals, with context objects being passed around so that the other systems could handle that. So when an enemy took fire damage and died, that would be emitted as a global signal, and then whatever passive ability was supposed to handle that would be able to run its own logic to respond to that. So it just said, oh, I'm getting a global signal now that an enemy has died to fire damage at this location. So now I can spawn an explosion, a fire explosion at that location, and I can also make that explosion damage based on you know, the damage that was taken, for instance. I feel like there's no reason for me to subscribe for Photoshop anymore with Affinity being free. Yeah, I mean, I'm not like a Photoshop power user, but for my purposes, Affinity has been perfectly fine. So yeah, I would definitely recommend trying it out. Thought about that, so I have to pass the parent node of a health component node at least, but context object sounds more flexible approach. Yeah. Yeah, that's the way that I would approach it. I mean, I don't know exactly what your use case is, but the nice thing about a context object too is that if it's the sole argument into a signal emission, then you can just put more data into it later on, right? You like, instead of having a bunch of different arguments that you emit along with the signal, and now you need to add a new argument, and then you need to go and update the code everywhere where that signal is being handled so that the signatures match. If you just have a single context object, you can just extend that context object. You can just put more data in there as you need to, and you don't need to worry about like updating all of the other consumers of that signal or listeners of that signal in the code base. So I think that's a very nice way of doing it. Fog of War sub viewport. Map container node revealed. So I'm going to need to do this. I'm going to need to do, let's see, node revealed. Photoshop hasn't updated their basics essentials in forever, and it feels pretty stale. It's just more AI features every update. Yeah. There's a lot of apps like that, like VS Code, for instance. VS Code is like every single new update now for VS Code is just more Copilot stuff. There's no like core IDE features. It's kind of a bummer, but oh boy. For each var node in revealed nodes. Yeah, we'll make this a list, I suppose. Shoot, I don't even know how this is gonna work. I don't even know if this can be undone. We're gonna try it. We're just gonna forge ahead and see. Excuse me. I forgot how to do this. Get minimum distance to node. So we're not going to hide any nodes that are within the visible radius. Okay. Map container dot node revealed plus equals on plus equals on node hidden. This is going to be a little bit tricky. I don't think this node index is necessary anymore. All right, remove revealed position, run map node, dot int position. So the problem here is I'm gonna have to remove these half nodes as well. If not revealed positions contains position return, we're gonna have to map these sprite 2Ds. I'm gonna have to map these sprite 2Ds probably to revealed positions, or maybe I don't. Well, maybe I should. Private read-only dictionary vector 2i. Sprite 2D, position to reveal sprite. That works. Position to reveal sprite, position is equal to sprite 2D. Okay, if not revealed positions contains position. Oops. We're going to do var sprite is equal to, actually, we're going to just do this. Position to reveal sprite, try get value position out sprite 2D. Sprite 2D. Okay. Sprite. If sprite is equal to null, we're going to return var tween is equal to create tween. Tween action sprite.queue_free. Position to reveal sprite.remove position. I think that will work, and then I'm just going to copy this basically. We don't care about this. Remove revealed position. Okay. Well, I guess we're going to have to figure that out. We'll do on map entered. Just trying to think of what I need to do here. I guess I can just accept the game map for now. Map.mapContainer.hide visitable nodes. Oh, I need the current run map node as well. We'll just try this for now. Okay. I guess we'll see what that does. I'm not entirely confident that that's going to work, but let's try it out. All revealed nodes will be hidden by fog of war. Okay. That didn't work. Why didn't that work? I did forget to remove the revealed positions here, but let's see what this does. And now we're going to click through again. See what happens. That's not working at all. So it's not even getting into here. Why is that not happening? Really? I don't know why this isn't working. I guess I should make this easier to test. Here we go. And I'm going to lose right here, so I'm not even going to be able to test it. Ugh. I should give myself the God mode. It's okay, we're going to try it the painful way one more time, and then we'll see. Here we go. Am I in the wrong instance? What the heck is going, why is this not working? It's not even hitting this breakpoint. I don't understand that. Oh, I think I know why. Yeah, hold on a second. I know why it's not happening, because this effect is being cleared when the node is set as visited here. And when the node is set as visited, it clears all of the map node effects. So I'm going to need to rethink that. Okay, well, unfortunately I have to stop the stream here because I have a meeting to get to in a few minutes here. So we'll work on this some more. I might work on this some more this afternoon. But if not, we'll be back at it tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern. I hope you all enjoyed the stream, and thank you all for your support. Again, you can wishlist Alchemortis on Steam. It's the first line in the description below. And also you can support the game on Patreon. You can join the Discord. You can purchase one of my courses. All that stuff is linked below. So thank you again, everyone, for watching. And thank you all for your support. And I hope to see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern. All right, take care, everyone. And bye-bye.